Before I give you the exercise we're going to do today, one that I promise will completely change the way you're living through this situation, there's something I need to tell you that maybe no one has told you before. The fact that he or she is with someone else right now doesn't mean that story is already written. In fact, I'm going to explain why. In so many cases, the presence of a third person is exactly what ends up awakening a much stronger interest than the one that existed before. It's not magic. It's not coincidence. It's pure psychology. And today, you're going to understand exactly how it works and what you need to do step by step to activate it. I am Liz Rose, a relationship expert, author, and researcher of emotional dynamics between men and women. For years, I have studied attraction, male behavior, emotional intelligence, and the patterns that bring people together or drive them apart. Today, I want to share with you what I have learned through my research, my professional experience, and the thousands of stories I have encountered throughout my journey. So welcome to this space. Before we begin, I want to thank you from my heart for being here. I know that if you found this video, it's because you're going through something that hurts. You're watching the attention of that person, attention you once felt was yours, or that you longed for so deeply, now seem to be somewhere else. I want you to know something. You are not exaggerating. What you're feeling has a very concrete explanation, one rooted in how your mind and body respond to perceived loss, and I'm going to walk you through it with you today. This week alone, I worked personally with 3 women who were in exactly this situation. All 3 applied what you're about to learn in this video, and all 3, in under 3 weeks, wrote back to tell me that the person had returned, reaching out again, writing again, showing an interest that had seemed to disappear. I'm not promising you magic. I'm telling you what happens when you understand and apply certain principles with discipline. So if you're looking for a space where we can go deep into situations exactly like this, whether you're going through a breakup, healing emotional wounds, trying to draw the right person into your life, or working through anything else that's weighing on you, you're in the right place. If this resonates with you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and write "I'm new" in the comments so I can welcome you personally. Now let's begin. What you're living through has a very specific pattern, and I want you to understand it well because understanding the mechanism is the first step to loosening its grip on you. When you sense that the attention of someone who matters to you is now focused on someone else, your body doesn't register it as a simple emotional disappointment. It registers it as a real physical threat. Your stress response switches on. Cortisol floods your system. You slip into a state of hypervigilance. You check your phone. You analyze every message. You look for signs. You compare yourself. You suffer. And here's the trap I've seen play out again and again in my work. That hypervigilance, that constant anxious checking, is exactly what pushes the other person further away. Because on some level, people can sense, without ever consciously naming it, when someone is desperate, needy, anxious. And instead of creating attraction, that energy creates distance. So, what do? First, I want you to understand why your mind has become so fixated on this situation. Then I'll show you how to take that very same intensity and turn it in your favor. Here's something I've come to understand deeply through years of studying attraction. Your mind has a filtering system that decides, moment to moment, what deserves your attention and what doesn't. The problem is that when you give one person an enormous amount of mental importance, that filter starts prioritizing everything connected to them above almost everything else. That's why you see their name everywhere. That's why every small sign feels like it's about them. That's why you can't stop thinking about them. On top of that, your mind starts searching, almost automatically, for evidence that confirms what you already fear. If you're afraid that person prefers someone else, your mind will find proof of that in every gesture, every silence, every post on social media. Even when objectively, none of it means what you think it means. This is important because it's actually liberating. Most of your suffering right now isn't coming from the facts themselves. It's coming from the interpretation your fear is layering on top of those facts. And if you can change the lens, you change the entire experience. Before we go further, I want to ask you something. If up to this point in the video you're feeling like this is describing exactly what you're going through, tell me in the comments. I relate to this. I want to know how many of you are in this exact place right now, because it helps me keep creating content that genuinely serves you. Now, let's talk about the mistakes, because when we feel like we're losing to someone else, instinct pushes us toward 3 behaviors that, without us realizing it, do the exact opposite of what we want. The first mistake is competing. You start comparing yourself, asking what that other person has that you don't, trying to outdo them in some measurable way. This is exhausting, and worse, it's invisible to the other person because it's all happening inside your own head. It changes nothing in the outside world. The second mistake is chasing, writing more, showing up more, trying to constantly remind them that you exist. This triggers something I've seen consistently in my work with couples. When someone feels pressured in a certain direction, their natural response, even unconsciously, is to resist, to pull further away. The third mistake is over-explaining, justifying your feelings, your jealousy, your discomfort, hoping the other person will understand your position and change their behavior out of sympathy. But desire is never generated by sympathy. Desire is generated by something else entirely, and that's exactly what I want to talk about now. There's something I've observed over and over in my research, something that first became clear to me in studies of how expectation shapes behavior. When people are treated as though they're capable, valuable, and worth investing in, they tend to rise into that expectation. When they're treated as less than, they tend to shrink into that too. The same is true almost identically in relationships. If, deep down, you're holding the belief that you're not enough, that you're competing at a disadvantage, that the other person is somehow a better match for the one you love, you will behave in a way that matches that belief. You'll shrink. You'll beg for attention without saying a single word out loud, simply through your energy. And the other person, without knowing exactly why, will feel that and respond to it. But if you install the opposite belief, that you are a deeply valuable, interesting, complete person with or without this relationship, your behavior shifts automatically. And that new energy is what starts producing the opposite effect: curiosity, magnetism, desire. So the real challenge isn't changing what you do, it's changing what you believe. And to do that, we need to work with something very specific that's happening inside you right now: jealousy. I want to pause here because what comes next might sound counterintuitive at first, but I promise you, once you fully understand it, it's going to make complete sense. If you're ready to learn the central tool of this video, write mirror in the comments. The people who have already done this exercise with me tell me it's one of the most transformative things I've ever shared. So get ready. Here's a principle I've come to trust deeply through my work. Everything that intensely disturbs you in another person is actually showing you something about yourself. Not literally, symbolically. When that third person triggers jealousy in you, or rage, or obsessive comparison, what's really happening is that this person has become, without knowing it, a mirror of qualities you feel you're missing, or qualities you already have but aren't letting yourself express. This means something powerful. That person who bothers you so much isn't your enemy. She or he is your teacher, a messenger pointing with precision at exactly which part of you needs to be reclaimed, integrated, switched back on. And when you stop fighting the mirror and start reading what it's actually showing you, something extraordinary happens. You stop needing to compete because you start becoming the version of yourself that genuinely attracts. I call this the rival mirror, and it's exactly the exercise we're going to do together right now, step by step. Before we dive in, let me know you're here with me, ready to do this together. Write "ready" in the comments. And before we continue, please grab a pen and paper, because this exercise requires you to write things down. Writing by hand carries a completely different energy than simply thinking something in your head. Now, before we start, I want you to understand the spirit of this exercise. We are not doing this from a place of resentment or destructive comparison. We're doing this from curiosity, almost like a scientist studying a fascinating phenomenon: your own inner world. Find a quiet place where you won't be interrupted for the next few minutes. Breathe deeply 3 times. Inhale for a count of 4. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale for a count of 6. This calms your nervous system and shifts you out of alertness and into clarity. Do it with me now. 3 breaths. Perfect. Now let's begin the rival mirror. Phase 1. Identification without judgment. At the top of your page, write that person's name, or simply the other woman or the other man if you'd rather not use a name. Underneath, I want you to answer with total honesty, without filtering, without trying to look good, even to yourself. What exactly is it that bothers you most about her or him? What triggers your jealousy or makes you feel at a disadvantage? Don't limit yourself to one thing. It could be their personality, something physical, the way they seem to act around the person you care about. Write everything that comes up without censoring yourself. Take your time. Pause the video if you need to, and come back. Phase 2, the mirror question. Now comes the key part. For every single thing you wrote down, ask yourself this exact question. Is this thing that bothers me about her or him something I feel I'm missing, or something I actually have but don't let myself show? For example, if you wrote, "She's so confident, and that makes me furious," ask yourself, do I feel like I'm not confident? Or am I confident in other parts of my life, but around this specific person, I shrink and don't let it show? Write your answer next to each point. You'll start to notice something interesting. In most cases, it's not that the quality doesn't exist in you. It's that it's sitting dormant, or you express it in other parts of your life. But you don't allow yourself to bring it into this specific relationship, usually out of fear of rejection, or because you tried once and it wasn't well received. Phase 3. The reclaiming. Now, for each quality you identified, you're going to write a reclaiming statement. This isn't a generic affirmation. It's specific and personal to you. The structure is, I also have this quality, and starting today, I choose to show it. For example, I am also a confident woman, and starting today, I choose to show it, even in this relationship, even with the risk that it won't be well received. I want you to read each of your reclaiming statements out loud. Do it now. Phase 4. The symbolic closing. To close the exercise, write one final sentence at the bottom of the page, addressed symbolically to the person who has been your mirror. Thank you for showing me what I needed to see. I no longer need you as a mirror, because now I choose to be this for myself. And here's something essential I want you to hold on to. From this moment forward, every time jealousy or comparison tries to creep back in instead of sinking into it, I want you to ask yourself immediately, what is this showing me about myself? And use that answer to reclaim that quality, instead of using it to compare yourself and suffer. This is exactly what the 3 women I mentioned at the beginning of this video did. They didn't obsess over competing with the other person. They obsessed over recovering, one by one, the parts of themselves that this person was reflecting back at them. And when those parts came back online, the way they showed up in their relationships changed completely, without chasing, without begging, without competing. I want to pause here because I know someone watching might be thinking, isn't this just a technique to manipulate the other person into coming back? And the answer is no, and it matters that you understand why. The rival mirror doesn't act on the other person. It acts on you. You're not doing anything to control anyone's will, and you're not even focused on that person during the exercise itself. You're using a painful situation as raw material for your own inner growth. The fact that, as a natural consequence, you become someone more whole, more secure, more magnetic, and that this eventually reawakens interest in whoever crosses your path, whether that's this person or someone else entirely, isn't manipulation. It's simply cause and effect, working exactly the way it's meant to. This connects to something I talk about often. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. And when you stop spending your energy fighting an external reflection and instead invest it in integrating what that reflection was showing you, it doesn't just improve this one situation. It improves your entire life because you carry that reclaimed quality with you into every future relationship, every room you walk into. If you've made it this far and something inside you just shifted, I want to hear about it. Write, I am a magnet for love in the comments. I'd love to read every single one. I want to remind you of something from the deepest place I know. Your worth was never dependent on winning against anyone. You are not in competition with that other person, because there are no 2 human beings who are truly the same, which means comparing yourself to her or him is comparing things that were never comparable to begin with. You carry a combination of history, of ways of loving, of energy that no one else on this planet can replicate. When you understand this, not as a pretty sentence, but as a real, settled conviction, you stop needing to win, because you understand you were never actually competing in the first place. Before we close this video, I want to stay with you a little longer because I know that for some of you, this is the only space in your day where someone speaks to you with this kind of tenderness, where someone reminds you who you really are underneath everything you're carrying. Stay with me 5 more minutes because what comes next might be the most important part of this entire video. I want you to understand something, not just with your mind, but with your body. You were not born to beg for love. You were not born to stand in line, to compete, to convince anyone that you're worth staying for. You were born as love itself. And when you forget that, when life hits you with silence, with distance, with someone who seems to have turned their eyes elsewhere, it doesn't mean you stopped being that magnet. It means, for a moment, you simply forgot. Today, we're going to remember together. Put your hand on your chest, right where you feel your heartbeat. Feel that rhythm, a heart that has beaten for you, unconditionally, every single second of your life, asking nothing in return. It doesn't matter if you made mistakes, if you cried too much, if you stayed glued to your phone, waiting for a message that never came. That heart has never once abandoned you. And today, I'm asking you not to abandon yourself either. We're going to do something that might feel strange at first, maybe even uncomfortable. But I promise, if you let yourself do it with an open heart, something inside you is going to shift. You're going to repeat, out loud, slowly, a series of statements. Don't say them like you're reciting a pretty phrase. Say them like someone finally daring to believe something that was always true, but that the pain never let you see. Breathe deeply one more time, and let's begin. Repeat after me, out loud. I am a magnet for love. Nalker sur naver find. Again, slower this time, feeling every word. I am a magnet for love. Now continue. Love finds me, not because I chase it, but because I am love. I want you to really feel that. It's not an empty motivational line. It's a truth about how energy works. You don't chase energy, you radiate it. And what you radiate comes back to you, multiplied. Let's keep going. I don't need to compete because there is no one else like me in the entire universe. My worth doesn't depend on being chosen. My worth exists even in silence, even in distance, even when no one is watching. Every wound I carry today is transforming into the very magnetism that will draw someone who truly knows how to love me well. Breathe. If you feel like crying while saying this, let yourself. It's not weakness, it's release. It's your body letting go of everything it held onto while you believed you had to earn love instead of simply living inside it. Let's continue a little further. The love I'm looking for is already on its way, and it doesn't need me to chase it, control it, or force it. I am the prize. I have always been the prize. Starting today, I stop seeing that person as my goal, and I start seeing myself as my priority. And now, the last one, the one I want you to feel with your entire body. I am a magnet for love, and love, sooner or later, always finds its way home. Stay in silence for a moment after saying this. Just breathe. Feel this truth settle into you. Even if part of you still has doubts, even if it still hurts, seeds don't bloom the same day they're planted. What you just declared is a seed, and you're going to water it every day by repeating these words until they stop feeling like a wish and start feeling like a certainty. I want to tell you something that fills my heart. The people who have done this exercise with me and who repeat it each morning in front of the mirror for a few weeks don't just feel different about themselves. They start to notice life confirming that new belief back to them in unexpected ways. Messages that arrive when they least expect them. New people approaching with genuine interest. And yes, in many cases, that specific person who seemed to have pulled away starts coming back. Not because you chased them, but because you became someone impossible to ignore. If something inside you moved just now, even for a second, I want you to let me know. Write, I am a magnet in the comments, exactly as you said it out loud. I want to read every single one. I want to witness this moment with you because you deserve to have someone celebrate the fact that today you chose to remember who you are. I hope this video has truly helped you, that you now feel like you have a real, concrete tool to transform not just this situation, but your relationship with yourself. If it did, I'd be so grateful if you liked this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turned on notifications so you never miss what I share next. Send this to the friend you know needs to hear this today. And if you want to go even deeper with exclusive content, guided exercises, and personal answers to your questions, I'd love for you to join the channel membership, where we're building a community of women and men committed to real, lasting transformation. Thank you truly for your time, your trust, and for letting me walk this path with you. Remember, today and always, you are a magnet for love. I'll see you in the next video, sending you a huge hug.